Hey everyone, I haven't made a dream video in quite a while, and this one has been on my mind here for a while, so I want to make an encouragement as well. So, if you haven't been following me for too long, I made a prophetic word near the last couple days of 2021 that basically said that this year would be the year of breaking, 2022 would be the year of breaking cycles. So, in the spirit of that prophetic word for this year, like I said, I've been reminded of this dream, so I want to kind of share it. Of course, it's summarized. So, in this dream, I saw myself living and watching myself live my life. I was going from one time frame to another, but something was definitely different with this. Each time the change would happen, I would either go to sleep or I would focus and I would shift to the next portion. This occurred several times and eventually got to the last part. In this part, I saw myself lying on a stretcher in a large room, and a evil woman was standing over me. She had been torturing me, and as I lay strapped to the stretcher. Now, after the dream, as I was coming out of that dream state, I was thinking on it and meditating on the whole idea and what, like, kind of trying to make sense of it, because I had never had a dream like this before. And I realized as soon as I was thinking on this that the transitions can be taken in basically two different perspectives. One is a layers and dimensions perspective, and the other one is psychological. So the first perspective is the transition. The transitions could be taken as a form of getting to the bottom of personal issues. Like, the number of transitions reveal that there are several dimensions or layers of myself that I need to overcome and eventually get to the final or root issue before I'm free. Everything or many things that I do stem from this root issue. In the psychological perspective, though, the woman in the final part is not evil, but represents someone or something. So obviously, again, in the psychological perspective, this woman is not a literal woman, and neither is the transition layers thing. But the woman is the final part of the is in the final part is not evil, but represents someone or something I have allowed to keep me strapped down and allowing her or it to torture me. Working through the layers of myself to get to that last part would enable me to break free and rid myself of the torture. So that, like I said, that was definitely an interesting thing. Now, again, I had, last couple days of 2021, I prophesied that 2022 would be the year of breaking cycles, and I have continued to see this not just in myself, but throughout the world via, online videos, TikTok, YouTube, and all that, postings of people, whether they're using a hashtag or just saying breaking the cycle. We gotta remember that as we continue to pursue the idea of breaking this cycle, we must remember that there are some cycles that are not as easily broken as others. Obviously, like for instance, some people smoke, some people drink, heavily, or to the point of causing issues in their life, and those kind of things. Along with a few others. Can't think of anything right now, but like the Lord will reveal it to you if you're not already working on it yourself. Those are basically cycles that no longer serve you. So, anything that doesn't serve you is a cycle that you don't need to go in. And of course, those who have already been working on this already know this and already have been working on breaking those cycles. But again, some cycles like that are are easier broken than others. And some of the more difficult ones can come in the form of like bloodline curses, or also known as generational curses, which are basically ungodly cycles / sins that have been passed down from previous generations. So I know in scripture, I think it was in Exodus, that says that the sins of the father are basically passed down to like the third and or fourth generation, but then the blessings of God go all the way to the seventh. So I've had discussions about this before, where and the discussions with a friend, they were kind of more theoretical, but if a sin continues, or cycle, curse, generational sin is allowed to go for up to 3 generations, it makes it like 10 times as hard. Not in like a literal 10 times as hard, but it makes it a lot more difficult, because that it also goes along with, I think it's in Ecclesiastes about the three string thing, where it says that 3 strings or 3 chord is a lot more difficult to break. And this, of course, this also goes along with the Trinity of wife, husband, and God, but it can also go along with the idea of if 3, let's say, demons are tied, bound together for a specific sin, for a generation thing, it makes it even more difficult. So like if a curse gets to the point of lasting 3 generations, that right there is going to make it nearly impossible. Nearly, nothing is impossible with God, but it's going to make it very difficult for that person to break that cycle, break that sin, even to the point of like maybe even spending the entire lifetime working on breaking that, just because it's been there for so long, and the demons won't want to release that person, release the vibration, that kind of thing. But at the same time, all things are possible. So as we continue to go through this year, we're already halfway through, but as we continue to go through the year 2022 and continue to break the cycles that are not serving us, have never served us, I encourage you, don't give up. Don't give in. Keep on pushing. And the Father is there with you throughout. He is, He'll give you hints, tips, however you receive them, whatever your language with Him is, however you receive those messages. He'll give you the road signs to confirm that you're on the right path, and just to continue pushing. I have seen people work on breaking these generational curses that have been in the generation for 2-3 generations, and they can be quite difficult. Don't give up, though. And this right here is where a fellowship is needed, because if you're willing to open up enough to allow those people in, and you feel you can trust the people that you're sharing the stuff with, they should be willing to walk you through you, and as you deal with this thing, pray with you and all that stuff. Because that's literally what Galatians 6:2 is about. It's carrying each other's burdens. I literally have it in a tattoo right here. So again, don't give up. This year can be the year of beginning of breaking that cycle, or breaking as many cycles as you can in 1 year, and pushing and starting to break that generational curse this year. May not mean, probably won't mean that, or may not mean that that you'll break it fully this year, but at least you'll fight for it. You'll fight to get it done, and you'll continue. And as long, the Lord is our strength, so He's never going to leave us. So He's, even whenever we feel like we're weak, that we can't continue pushing through and fighting to get rid of whatever said curse it is, whatever said cycle, He's there with us. He knows that you want to get rid of it, and He's working with us, giving us hints and tips in order to break that. We just can't think that it's going to happen overnight. Even if we can't think of even if it is like a generational thing, we can't assume that it's going to happen in a week or in a month. We got to give it time. We have to have patience. And I can't remember what scripture, but I know that He's in that waiting period. Because what happens whenever we're waiting on Him, it's growing our patience, it's growing our faith in Him, our strength in Him. Because we're creatures that we want something instantaneous, especially in our current generation, in our current time, in the current time on earth that we live in. We want stuff instantaneously. But God is in the wait, because that's where He stretches us. He makes us more dependent on Him, which is kind of what one of the purpose for living this life is for. Living and waiting on Him. Waiting and learning to be dependent on Him, fully dependent on Him, and not dependent on man. And that right there is difficult. I know that firsthand. But at the same time, as we continue to push forward, we learn how to recognize those little signposts, those little signs. And I'm not talking about like the miraculous stuff. I'm not talking about the miracles. No, we're not pursuing those. I'm talking about the little road signs that He shows us, that He brings our attention to. Those are the little, like, individual thing that we learn to keep an eye out for in this walk. Yeah, that'd be great if miracles do happen, but we are not to live by looking for those. We each, in our own life, develop our own little language with the Father and how He speaks to us. In a general sense, yeah, it is the same with everyone, but in an individual, very specific sense, in the micro sense, there is something that only we understand with Him. And that's what I'm talking about. The little things. Those are the road signs. The little signs as we're going down the road. That metaphor. But that road is our life. And the car is us. It's our mindset. It's our life. So as we're driving down that road of life, and we see those little road signs that we understand, we know, and we take that as a confirmation that we're on the right path. Even recording this video, I got a call from a friend of mine who I sent a text to just spontaneously. I saw a message by Jordan Peterson, and he was basically calling out the church, and I felt that matched perfectly with something that she had vented about to me. So I sent that to her. And next thing you know, she's telling me a story that matched perfectly with this message. Those are the road signs. Whenever you get those little synchronicities that you're not expecting, that's whenever you know that the Father is with you. I know how it is when it comes to kind of going along your own path, always, I'm going to use the word fear, but it's more the reverence type thing. I don't want to go off the road, Father. I need to make sure that I'm still with you. And then he gives you them. That's what I'm talking about. Because if you start going on your own path that the Lord has told you to, and it's contrary to what the church wants, what the church says, what your pastor says, etc., yeah, you're going to get a little nervous. Because some of the stuff may be against what the tradition teaches. But God hasn't instructed us to follow tradition. We are to follow him and follow what the word says. And sometimes we find on that path that the road, or that the word has been a little mistranslated, and so we go back and look into the stuff and find out, oh, that word means something different than what I've been taught. And then that completely changes everything. That I actually discovered that with the word darkness, and I actually made a video with that. I'll link that in as I post this thing. But yeah, we gotta just watch out for those road signs. If you need help and kind of coming to a better understanding of what those road signs look for, send me a message. I'll be glad to kind of help to try to give you an idea. Because again, it looks different for everyone. But once you start having that spiritual awakening, then you'll see it. You'll be able to understand it. You just got to keep in mind that that's not everyone's language, like what you're seeing. The method can be the same for everyone, but the specifics of what that road sign is can be different and is different for everyone. Some people share different things, especially depending on what it is, because they're dealing with something and it matches up with what they're dealing with, but not always. So again, don't give up on breaking the cycles. Don't give up, because some things are more difficult than others, but that's where the community comes in. I wish you all the best.